Once upon a time, in a land not so far away, lived a poor miller with a very big imagination. One day, hoping to feel important, he went to the king and made a wild claim. "Your Majesty," he announced with a proud puff of his chest, "my daughter can spin straw into gold." The king, whose eyes lit up at the mere mention of gold, was intrigued. "Is that so?" he said, a greedy smile spreading across his face. "Bring her to my castle tomorrow. I must witness this miracle for myself." The very next day, the miller's daughter, a kind and honest girl, was brought before the king. He led her not to a grand hall, but to a large, dusty room piled high with straw. In the center stood a spinning wheel. The king's voice was cold as he said, "If you can spin all this straw into gold by morning, you will become incredibly rich. But if you fail, ... he let the threat hang in the air. You will not see another sunrise." With a heavy clang, the king locked the door, leaving the poor girl all alone. She looked at the mountain of straw, then at the spinning wheel, and burst into tears. She had no more idea how to spin straw into gold than how to fly to the moon. Her sobs echoed in the silent room. Suddenly, the heavy door creaked open, and a strange little man stepped inside. He was no taller than a chair, with piercingly bright eyes and a long, sharp nose. He tilted his head and asked in a surprisingly kind voice, "Why are you crying, my dear girl?" through her tears. The miller's daughter explained her impossible task. "The king will have my head if I can turn this straw into gold by morning." The little man's lips curled into a grin. "And what will you give me?" he asked, his eyes twinkling. "If I do it for you, my necklace." She replied without a second thought, unclasping the delicate chain from around her neck. The little man snatched the necklace, gave a nod, and sat down at the spinning wheel. With a flick of his wrist, the wheel began to turn. Whir, whir, whir. It spun all through the night, and by the time the first rays of morning light streamed through the window, every last piece of straw had been transformed into spools of shining, glittering gold. When the king unlocked the door and saw the room gleaming with treasure, he was speechless. His astonishment, however, quickly turned to greed. He wanted more. So he led the girl to an even bigger room, one overflowing with straw, larger than she could have ever imagined. "Spin all of this into gold by tonight," the king commanded, his voice even sterner than before. "Succeed, and you shall marry my son, the prince, Val, and, well, you know the penalty." Once again, the door was locked, and once again, the girl sank to the floor and wept. And just like before, the door creaked open, and the little man appeared. "What will you give me this time?" he chirped. "If I spin this straw for you?" "My ring," she said, pulling the precious band from her finger. He took the ring, nodded briskly, and set to work. The wheel whirred faster and faster, a blur of motion in the candlelight. He worked tirelessly all night long, and by morning the entire room was filled with more gold than the king had ever seen. The next morning, the king was ecstatic. He had forgotten all about his threats. "You have proven your worth," he declared. "You shall not marry my son. You shall be my queen." And so the miller's daughter became the queen. A year passed, and she gave birth to a beautiful baby. Life was perfect, and she had almost forgotten the terrifying nights in the castle and the strange little man who had saved her. But one day, as she was rocking her child, he suddenly appeared before her. Now he hissed, his kind demeanor gone, "Give me what you promised me." The queen was horrified. She remembered her desperate promises, but never imagined he would return for such a price. "Please," she cried, "take anything else. I'll give you all the gold in the kingdom, jewels, anything you desire, just not my child." The little man looked at her, a cruel smirk on his face. He thought for a moment, enjoying her panic. "Very well," he said finally. "I will give you a chance. If you can guess my name within 3 days, you may keep your child." And with that, he vanished. The queen was thrown into a frenzy. She immediately sent messengers to every corner of the kingdom, instructing them to gather every name they could find. On the first day, when the little man appeared, she tried all the common names she knew. "Is it Jacob, John, Benjamin?" But to each one, he just shook his head and laughed. "No, that's not my name." On the second day, she tried the most unusual and bizarre names her messengers had brought back. "Is your name Shortleg or Crooked Nose? Perhaps it's Bumblebee." The little man just cackled with glee. "No, no, that's not my name." The queen was growing desperate. Time was running out. On the morning of the third and final day, just as she was losing all hope, one of her most trusted servants returned, breathless. "Your Majesty," he whispered, "last night, as I was passing through the deep forest, I saw a small hut, and around a crackling fire, a funny little man was dancing and singing a strange song." The servant cleared his throat and sang in a low voice, "Today I bake, tomorrow I brew. The queen's child will soon be due. Glad am I that no one can claim that Rumpelstiltskin is my name." The queen's heart leaped with joy. She finally had it. When the little man appeared that morning, full of arrogant confidence, he asked, "Well, Your Majesty, for the last time, what is my name?" She looked at him with a sly smile. "Is it Peter?" "No," he shouted. "Is it Jack?" "No," he cried, growing impatient. Then ... double quotes. She paused, drawing out the moment. ... Is it Rumpelstiltskin?" The little man's face turned from red to purple with rage. He let out a piercing scream. "The devil told you that. The devil told you that." In his fury, he stamped his foot down so hard that it plunged right through the wooden floor. When he tried to pull it out, he was stuck. He pulled and pulled with all his might until, with a terrible rip, he tore himself in two. And from that day on, the strange little man was never seen again. The queen, her husband the king, and their beloved child lived happily ever after, free from his terrible curse forever. Thank you so much for joining me for this classic fairy tale. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more magical tales. See you next time.